Good morning, everyone. So, we ended the last inaugural address on three key terms: cooperation, coordination, and communication. And I think these three terms set the tone for this session that we are going to host, which is on role of geospatial technologies, cross-sector stakeholder coordination for Gati Shakti Master Plan. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Gati Shakti National Master Plan for multimodal connectivity, a 100 lakh crore project aimed at breaking silos, improving collaboration, improving coordination, and accelerating the development of quality and trustworthy infrastructure development in the country. The goal is to ensure that we have synchronized, holistic, integrated, and comprehensive planning system to achieve the $5 trillion economy that we want to achieve. We've been hearing about it since morning that infrastructure development is at the core of the $5 trillion economy, and digital technologies are going to accelerate quality infrastructure development in the country. The Gati Shakti Master Plan is going to bring together 16 ministries, inclusive of power, inclusive of telecom, inclusive of roadways, railways, all together to ensure that we have a coordinated implementation plan when it comes to infrastructure development. One of the key fundamental of Gati Shakti is the establishment of a geospatial digital platform, a platform that can plan and monitor projects, which can be accessed by all governments, which can develop holistic infrastructure, which can improve connectivity, which can reduce all the challenges that come with implementation of technologies, which can ensure compliance. A seminal initiative, as it is called, for India to achieve Infrastructure Vision 2025, which has been very beautifully outlined in the National Infrastructure Pipeline. The Gati Shakti plan is a fundamental for infrastructure development in the country. And today, we have panelists who are experts in digital technologies, which are going to be fundamental to develop the Gati Shakti plan and take it forward. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Anand, Senior Vice President Sales, Esri India, to begin this discussion. Esri India is one of the leading players in GIS, and GIS is fundamental to PM Gati Shakti plan. With this, Vishal, I would request you to please come and give your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, it's my privilege to be here, and because not many times you find these kind of conferences touching a topic like infrastructure and many orientation around it. And geospatial being very close to my heart and my organization, so it's really overwhelming to be a part of this august conference. And second, the role of geospatial technology on Gati Shakti. Again, a very important discussion on this panel. So thank you, Geospatial Media, for inviting me on this. And I also welcome all the delegates to see a pure physical conference eventually. We started with virtual a few years back, we went to hybrid, and now we all back to 100% physical conference. So I think I wish and pray that we keep doing this now for time to come. Before I get into geospatial technology as a whole and what geospatial can do to this project like Gati Shakti, we all know that two important things happened last year, which actually will change the course of entire geospatial industry. One was release of geospatial guidelines in February last year, which actually was long overdue in terms of opening up of data, which eventually will make a lot of use case open up and eventually benefit all the citizen departments, organizations, and people who are involved and touching geospatial industry and GIS per se. Second important thing happened in October was launch of project called Gati Shakti. As it's a Brahman of a project, people who are involved in this know that this is a kind of a mothership. It will consume anything and everything which relates to project and geospatial as a whole. Being a first presenter of this panel on role of geospatial in Gati Shakti and future development, I will just touch upon the 6 pillars which you all know very well. What are the pillars and how important are they? It starts from comprehensiveness, where we talk of we have to have a comprehensive approach for this. It will start to be talk of optimizing, prioritization, synchronization, analytic, and dynamic. It's so good to witness that pillar fifth and sixth categorically mention GIS technology for analytical and analytics when it comes to this portal, and monitoring in a dynamic way with use of satellite image. Having said that, if you see and observe these all pillars carefully, we can actually make this geospatially enable all of them. Because if we have to make them all geospatially enable to eventually come out with meaningful plans and result. So, needless to mention, GIS, enable this approach. We all know GIS start from measuring of data to accessing which help us in visualization and mapping. This is what GIS is known for data acquisition, visualization, mapping. But of course, a lot of analytics and modeling happens with the technology, which will help us in giving some predictive results. We call it predictive analysis, and then actually help you to plan and design and take some actions, because it starts from your acquisition part to data part, and it will only be meaningful if we take some action which is geo enabled. And geography, which is the science of geography, will enable all this, and GIS technology, ArcGIS, definitely enables all this. So if I put this into those six pillar approach, you will see that this entire thing can be very well geo enabled. We know portals. Everybody is talking about portal, and in the inauguration session also, you heard this word. We have to create some portal. We have to link those portals together. But this is happening already from quite some time. Only thing is, the time has come where we synchronize everything together. We prioritize and take some decisions. So all these six pillars, if we have a right approach and enable it with the technology, it will come up with again effective decision making, and that's a whole objects or proposition of Gati Shakti. And I will go one by one into this each pillar, that how it is possible and how can we do it. I know there's a time constraint which Ananya already told me 10 minutes, but I will try to do justice whatever I could do. Comprehensiveness is the first pillar, and it all starts from the geoinformation model. You have to, people who work on GIS know it all starts from building a right data model. And all the ministries, 16 we said, ministries and department who are working to create this portal or to help this portal become enriched, are working on many varied type of data. Let it be 2D, 3D, linear data, drone data, and real-time data and whatnot. So it's very important that the technology behind is comprehensive in such a way that it consumes that data in a manner, it mesh it up and give your results to a portal which can eventually come up with web maps or web scenes or layer, because you don't know what your user demand would be. Once it become a two-way communication, the user demand could vary from somebody would need a map out of it, somebody would need just a 3D model out of it, and somebody would be okay with just doing analytics on top of your portal. So the entire data management is too much important in the way that, and you cannot define how your user will create data. So your platform should be capable enough to ingest whatever data is available from whatever source. So that's the first model around comprehensiveness, which this GIS technology take case very well. GIS is a platform for prioritization via collaboration, and no prioritization can happen without collaborating it. We all know this. And this technology, people know this by layering of data and then meshing it up and coming out with some results. But we also should understand that it's a workflow based technology. It has meaningful decision making at all level. Right from workers who are on the field, they can input the data into the same common operating picture, which eventually goes to executive level dashboarding, so that the scaling up of technology, scaling up of work and scaling up of the model remain unchanged. Right from geospatial worker to some knowledge worker, a lot of people who are doing into development community, then eventually you want to share the data, you want to share the application to the world. Today, I think few years back we used to always say get into web GIS, because whatever you have created you need to share. Today we are talking about whatever you have created need to be shared by a different portal. So portals are talking to portal these days. Gone are the days when we used to ask somebody to please come to my portal and take the data from there. No. It's like many portals of many departments are talking to each other. We call it portlet sometime. So that through API level integration or any other integration, eventually they are serving to the same purpose. Because you cannot build everything on your own. If you're talking about 16 departments, there will be 16 different portals and many more. And it is happening today. You go to many state who have built their state GIS, state like Rajasthan, state like Meghalaya, state like Himachal. They have created state GIS, which means entire departments are hooking to the same portal. There are no duplication of data, there are no duplication of application. I am doing my work on a standard portal, and that portal has a readiness to connect any national portal, let it be Gati Shakti or any other portal, so that you are not duplicating the effort. You're just giving a connection, and it's both ways. So this will happen once we collaborate more. It not only department level collaboration, but it's also interdepartment level collaboration. It may go to states and center level collaboration. Third is optimization. We know optimization can only happen once we have workflows. Gati Shakti is talking about all workflow enabled mechanism, which is a very great work. And the 200 layers of data we are talking about definitely will go much high. 200 will be good for now, but it'll go on increasing. And once we optimize, we can only optimize if we know the gaps. We'll only know the gaps if we have a real picture from the ground, which will only come when somebody can have a dashboarding impetus on what is coming from where. So if we can do that what if analysis, we can optimize. Uh, of course, synchronization, you all know we have been dealing with this problem for many years, that we dig and then we understand what was there. So, and this was a talk of town for many years, that we have to plan before doing any development work. So what is happening, how it is happening, when is it happening? So GIS technology has a lot of workflows and tools and models available, which will give you the resistance of what to do first. First come first. If you have to, build a bridge, then you cannot, widen the road, or you have to widen the road and then put it on stuff. So all the rules are in place, which will not allow you as a workflow to do something else first, which was not a part of a rule book. So this will help in synchronizing it. Uh, we all know GIS and the analytics it gives you, the spatial analysis which is known for. And I need not mention much about this, because all of you have been using technology for analysis. It could be spatial planning, it could be what if analysis, it could be predictive analysis. Why it is important? Because there is a major location component, there is a mashup of multi-layer data, which will give you a single view approach, with the help of which you can actually do a lot of analysis. And that's why you see every project today which is being announced by government or otherwise talk of location component or geospatial technology in it, because we all know the importance of this technology, and that's why this is an important pillar of Gati Shakti. Dynamic monitoring. With satellite image, there's a small video you can see of Vishwanath temple. You can definitely see what happened in those time series from 2018 to 2021. If this kind of data is available and you can just do a mashup and scaling like this, see how much you can visualize, how much you can do in terms of analysis. And what if is what it is talking about, that what was the condition in 2018. And this is just a video. You can actually go deep dive into, into level of square feet, areas, total measurement, land use and whatnot. So having talked about the sixth pillar and the importance of geospatial around it, ArcGIS, which is the technology from Esri, it allows seamless integration. If I talk of a few of the ministries which are nodal for Gati Shakti, those of all 16 are definitely, but one single portal for all transportation orientation development, Bharat Mala, Sagar Mala, inland. If you see this kind of a map, it is mashing up all of them, and you can do a dashboarding, and this can actually go to any portal you want, both ways. So see the power of GIS, which not only gives you to collect, to analyze, but also share at API level, which you can which can help you in decision making. Spatial data driven policy. We have always seen many projects. We are involved in, I think, most of the government projects, and we're thankful to them for selecting Esri for many national and foundation data set technologies. Wherever you have seen the spatial data driven decisions are really meaningful. And if you talk of visualization, if you see this, we are talking about, what is the level of literacy available in one state. So you can visualize in such a way that which part is doing what. This is the example for jobs, what kind of private jobs, government job people are doing in Kerala. You can take a lot of inputs from there and then decide where the money should be pumped in, what projects government should come up with. You can inform. It's community management, crowdsourcing, community mapping is all the words which has come from geospatial industry, and it is always community driven. We all know this. You can engage the community in terms of informing them, taking a lot of input from them. It's generally two-way, and then act. I keep on saying that any technology is only useful if you can act on it. If your decision are taken or based on what technology you have been using from visualization or planning, and then you are acting on it based on that model. Uh, we have supported many portals, and why I'm bringing it here, because we are all talking about portals since morning. I would like to tell you what portals, and it's a glimpse of it. We are almost behind hundreds of portals in the country. But if you see India Varis portal, which started way back, version 1, version 2, it's a one-shop portal for all water resources, state departments and central department, is done on Esri platform. Bharat Maps of NIC, National Informatics Center, which is again give you a lot of application and data over a platform called Bharat Maps. It's totally API driven and web-based platform, which is much used by many state and center agencies. Survey of India, another valuable project Survey of India did in supporting government to government, government to citizen, and their inter-department. They came out with 3 portals and combined them one as Survey of India portal for ask of maps and data from them. Varanasi, the dynamic satellite image I shown you. So Varanasi has done a lot of work in terms of smart maps creation for Varanasi as a smart city. We created something called as Kashi Geo Hub for government there. And this is the good part is these are used heavily. One is you are creating a portal, and second, it's not only the departmental portal, but it's also used by many citizen and inter-department. And that's the winning story when these are used and a lot of decisions are taken based on the data coming in from these. Swamitva project, the Swamitva scheme of Survey of India. I mean, I'm very happy to announce that GIS technology is being used very heavily in this when it comes to drone processing and eventually creating a map out of it. GMS web portal for it's a project management tool for property for Ministry of Housing Development. End-to-end analysis, decision making, monitoring happening on this portal across the smart city, whatever has been launched. Swachh Bharat Mission, many work to the level of indicator at mobile level, and then field level workers is being mapped again on geospatial technology. And then Gurgaon Development Authority, we are doing one map application for them, and they have done some wonderful work in coming out with many applications for right from police to traffic to municipal corporations to electricity, and you name it, in terms of the work Gurgaon supports, Gurgaon Metropolitan Development Authority support. It's all mapped on something called as one map application. And this is all possible. We have a software called Indo ArcGIS. ArcGIS, it's the same ArcGIS technology which you all know. The flagship technology, which is now called Indo ArcGIS. We launched this last year. And why we did that? Because we could see the gap of technology versus jump starting your whole project. So you can acquire a technology, but there are a lot of data application templatize issues when you have to jumpstart your project and come to the speed. It was taking few years. So what we have done, we have come up with a lot of solution products which are given along with ArcGIS technology, which are all India based and mostly take care of the kind of work you are into it. It could be electric utility, forest management, property tax. At least your most of the work is kind of jump started. It's all templatized so that you work on your domain and come up with something which is meaningful for you. With this, I think I will close my presentation, and thank you for being a patient listener. I'll be here during the lunch for any clarification or question you have. And once again, congratulate the organizer for doing something like this. I think we should continue this, and a lot of deliberation will happen here. Thank you so much.
Vishal, if you can take the seat here, please. Thank you so much, Vishal. It was indeed interesting to see how GIS enables all the six key pillars of the National Gati Shakti program. And I'm sure we have a lot of other things to discuss as well, as you mentioned in your presentation. We now have Mr. Kaushik Chakraborty, Vice President Asia Pacific Bentley Systems. He's going to be talking on integrated digital delivery systems for roads and highways programs. Kaushik.
Thanks, Vishal, for setting the stage. I know very little about Gati Shakti, but thanks to Sanjay and the organizers for giving us this opportunity. So first, I'd like to dispel a myth because a couple of people asked me this morning, "Ye Bentley to gaadi hai, so what are you guys doing here?" So we are not the car people, nor do we get cars. That was the first question my son asked me. Will you get a Bentley if you join Bentley? No. Even the owner doesn't have a Bentley, so theek hai. So we are an infrastructure engineering company, and I think I always like starting with this slide because at the end of the day, as we heard Honorable Minister Mr. Gadkari say this morning, what really affects the life of every citizen anywhere on the planet is the quality of infrastructure, right? The old roti, kapda, makan, and sadak and train is what drives the quality of life everywhere. And I think COVID proved that how the world is changing and how infrastructure, Sanjay said this morning, right, that even the developed nations in the world are actually spending a much higher percentage of GDP today on infrastructure redevelopment or development than anywhere else, any time in the last 50 years. And India is no exception to that. So this is, what we are about, and the most important line in our mission statement is improve quality of life. So everything we try to do is build solutions so that our customers, they can build better infrastructure which helps all of us, right? So that we and the generations to follow have a better life. And for me, what better way to show, and interestingly, this project was mentioned by Mr. Gadkari this morning. So this is something created by one of our customers who did a very nice innovative project. A lot of technology was used, including BIM, and moving towards digital technology and integrated approach to project delivery. This states Sistra, but I know L&T was also involved very much in this project. So thanks to everybody who was part of this.
What happens when you run out of land for roads? Mumbai, the financial capital of India, has a population of 12.4 million, located in a small area of 437 square kilometer, surrounded by the sea with nowhere to expand. Increased vehicle usage in the last 20 years has resulted in extreme traffic congestion, long commute times, and pollution, which has impacted the quality of life of its citizens. To reduce the burden of the traffic and transport system of Mumbai, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai and contractor Sistra needed to get creative. They came up with a plan to construct a coastal road on the western side of the city using 122 hectares of reclaimed land from the sea. Bentley software helped in each stage of the project, starting from planning and designing to support during construction. This complex project required a seawall to support the reclamation, as well as a bridge viaduct, pedestrian and vehicle car parking, and public recreational open spaces, which were modeled using Open Roads Designer and Open Bridge Modeler. The project needed to provide fast connectivity in the city, including a dedicated outer lane for buses, while also preserving the environment and creating green spaces and waterfronts. The corridor modeling was a key aspect of the solution, and a 3D drive-through helped identify clashes and interference between the various components of the project. The 3D model made design refinement and modifications easy, resulting in 50% less time spent on design modifications. This project will reduce the burden on the traffic system and make traveling in a congested metropolitan city of Mumbai more economical, safe, and fast. The coastal freeway will provide speedy connectivity between various portions of the city, while also improving quality of life for citizens through the creation of green spaces and waterfronts.
So thank you for indulging me in this 2 minutes. But I think this is very important because it captures a lot of what we heard this morning, which is it's all about faster delivery, saving time, saving cost, and building better, long-lasting infrastructure. Now, for those of us who've been on the the Mumbai Sea Link, the bridges and things like that, I think most of us who are not engineers don't really appreciate how tough it is to build this stuff, right? It starts with what you talked about, right? The master planning starts with GIS. Where do you build? And where engineering comes is how do you build it and how do you make it better and stronger and more resilient? And then you have, we listen to I think Trimble and Anand talk about how machines will help in the construction process. And at the end of the day, it's companies like L&T and Sai Engineering, which is now Sai Sistra in India, and a lot of the other engineering companies like Tata Projects who make this magic happen, right? This stuff, when we drive on it and we ride on it, we don't realize how much blood, sweat, and tears goes in. So from my side, thanks to all our customers who do all this hard work, and Mokun from L&T is here, so thanks to you guys for also being a part of this project. So in terms of what our commitment is to India, and there's a lot of opportunities in India. We heard this morning, and everybody in the world knows about this 1.4, 1.5 trillion dollars India will spend on infrastructure in the next 5 to whatever years, right? It's not relevant how many years. What is important is we will not be able to get that spent delivered to quality unless we change, right? So for us as a company, what we wanted to do is we looked at what does the industry need, right? We need transparency, we need collaboration, we need commitment, and a focus on quality, time, and perspective, things like that. Everything which was talked about by NHAI and the minister this morning, right? And so what we thought is, okay, we have a lot of products which we've built for the world, including from India, we build products for the world, but do we really have an Indian solution? So what we did is we were fortunate enough and to acquire a local Indian company which created a construction and a project management solution in India for India. The founder, Mr. Kalyan Vaidyanathan, will speak tomorrow. He's here. And so again, founded by two very smart, IITians who went to the US, studied, worked for construction, but brought that back home to India and built something fantastically together with the IIT Chennai Incubation Cell. So this is formed for us our nucleus to build truly made in India solutions, which is relevant to the market, and we can use our strength and work with more products like IndoGIS to create a good ecosystem for the whole national infrastructure projects, right? The NIP, the National Infrastructure Pipeline, is huge. There's enough work for and opportunities for all of us. So this for me, from our side, the life in the construction world is very tough, right? What our construction contractors go through, and I'd just like to just highlight a few of the challenges people face and what we're trying to do to solve this, right? So this is a standard construction project. You have head office, and you have a site office. Site office is doing a lot of work, like managing documents, managing issues, RFIs, RFPs. They're managing budgets, contracts, blah blah blah, right? They track performance. Those decisions are in a way disconnected from the field. What happens in the field? Work happens, right? So they have to monitor safety. They have to do the work every day. They have to mark up drawings if they're using drawings on paper, whatever. They have to manage the issues which are sent from the site offices. They have to manage their daily diaries, time cards, time sheets, and of course do the inspections. And that information has to go back to the site office. Now look at the delays which happen because of paper, right? Traditionally, all this happens with paper. So this is creating delays. Then you have from head office invoked, ERP cost accounting systems, which usually have blackouts till the end of the month, or every 2 weeks they will have an update. So the whole ecosystem there is disconnected, right? And we use the word dark data. Dark data is where data is disconnected from each other. So you really don't know what you have, right? It's like going into a dark room. There's things there, but you don't know because it's dark. So what we are trying to do with what we are doing and have done with our construction and project CDE solution is try to integrate this whole approach so that everything is coordinated between the head office, the site offices, and the field. And we are providing, we are going from BIM to creating digital twins. And so Sanjay, you talked about digital twins. there is not, what is different between BIM and a digital twin? A digital twin is just BIM which is alive. Really, at the end of the day, it is BIM which is alive, always updated, and it provides you, it's data driven, right? So CAD came from a 2D document based world. BIM is a model based world. Digital twins are data centric, right? So it's all about data and information you can gather and insights you can make for decisions, right? And of course, CAD and BIM is a foundation for digital twins, right? So you don't just do digital twins, you have to still do 2D, 3D, and all that stuff. And so for us, our solution is all about giving our clients and their projects, a simple connected data environment. And that's why I use the word, a lot of people call it common. It's not common, it should be connected. It should be connected not just to the engineering world, it has to be connected to the GIS world, it has to be connected to the ERP world, it has to be connected to timesheets, it has to be connected to government, whatever IT systems and MIS systems the government has. If it's not connected, it's not going to help you. Because why? It's not just about 3D models, right? Why? Models don't understand owners' requirements. Models don't understand behavior. They don't change behavior of users. Models don't collaborate, interface, or work with others, right? Data and information does that. People do that, right? So it's all about connecting people in a project. And it's not about sharing models with each other. Sharing models will not, it'll just a part of that story. So this is the kind of capability we provide through our local software platform. We did have a global software platform called Synchro, and we have taken the N-Pulse platform we acquired through Nadi's acquisition in India, and we are trying to create the best of the best product solution we can, which is relevant to the local market. Right? I won't go into all the capabilities; it's just not relevant. So if you look at what the digital twin in construction does, it takes all your inputs, which is all your construction data coming from the design world, coming from site, coming from the field, and it's also taking the outputs which are created during construction and pushing that on, so that the information model you have is always up to date, it's alive, and it continuously represents what's happening in the real world, right? So that the model remains a replica of what's happening. Now, digital twins are new in our industry, but they've been used in manufacturing, in aerospace and defense for 10, 15 years, right? It's not new technology, it's been used for many, many years. It's just coming into our world now. What is the advantage is you as an owner or a PMC or a GC have daily insights into your project update, right? And as the minister said this morning, site jaane ki zarurat nahi hai. You can sit in your office and get access to all of this information. Right? And by the way, all of these images and all this work is not done by us; it's done by our customers. So and this is the other advantage, right? So this is a few years ago, this would not have been possible. What are the technologies which change and make digital twins possible in our industry today? So one is cloud computing. The other one is IoT sensors. Why is cloud computing important? Because crunching data. So this model, for example, this is a model of a plant. The underlying data is 16 terabytes. I'm visualizing this on an iPad without any hardware. I couldn't have done this five years ago. Unless you have, so we use Microsoft's Azure Cloud, provide our services. We can use AWS, Google Cloud, whatever, right? And we can deploy it on Indian local private clouds as well. But this is a singles view of the truth. So what is our user trying to do here? He's trying to say, tell me everything you want to know about that element or that wall or whatever that is, right? It's connecting to your ERP systems, it's connecting to your timesheets, it's connecting back to your BIM models, which are, in this case, actually created, this was created by Autodesk's 3D plan, AutoCAD 3D plan software, right? And it's giving you a single view of that asset in real time. And it will also tell you what happened to it 2 years ago, how it was designed, how it was built, and how is it being operated. So technology has really helped us come forward so much and do that in a visual way with you as users using less hardware and simple, right? Web has made things easy to use. App and web economy has made it easy for new users to come on board. Okay. So this is a quick roadmap of a number of users who are using a construction software portfolio and a CD in India. And just our value proposition, what are they gaining, right? So this is where Kalyan is very passionate, right? 20% productivity improvement, elimination of information latency. And it's an open system, right? So it integrates with any ERP, any GIS systems, BIM solutions. It's an open system. And so all file formats used in Bentley are open standard. They are open source software platforms. We don't have anything proprietary in our file formats or our software. And a large part of our platform is today on GitHub in an open source way, so that we can collaborate, right? The beauty about the engineering industry is no one project uses one company's software. You will find Autodesk, Trimble, Esri, Bentley, and many more in every project. And so we have to make sure as an industry it's very interoperable, right? Just a quick glance on some of the outcomes in our road and highways. So what Tata Realty and Welspun have told us, again, this is not information we came up with, this is straight from them. I don't want to get into details of this. We have Kalyan will speak tomorrow, and our team is outside. So if anybody wants more information, we can talk live about these projects to you. And then also DMRC is using a construction monitoring software for effectively monitoring the construction of line 4. Okay, and hopefully tomorrow they'll also be talking about the efficiency gains they are gaining in their project. Okay, and I'd like to end with this one project, because to me, I think this is one of the first in the world. So this is a project, this is the only non-Indian project, but I think it's one of the first in the world to have gone completely paperless, right? So this is a true manifestation of a digital twin. So this is the world's most complex and largest water treatment plant being built in Singapore. It's not only the world's largest, it is the most complex, and because it's underground, it's fully underground, right? And on top of this, they are building the world's largest incinerator for waste. So it's two projects simultaneously happening above the ground and below the ground. So in this project, the engineering company is Jacobs Engineering, who's also doing projects in India. They did not use any paper. So they created the model, and they gave all their tenderers for construction a model. They said you bid for tender based on the model, so you know exactly what you have to bid for. So everybody is bidding on a model, right? And all the tenderers, that is, so there are 32 subcontractors in this project who are part of the construction. They all bid for their tenders based on what the tender model was. They're on a weekly basis, they update their part and put the model back, and it's all federated. It's not that they're sending an update, it's happening in real time. It's all using cloud computing. What is the impact of this? They have eliminated thousands and thousands of 2D drawings in this project. What is the real value? So value to the owner, in this case the utilities board, the public utilities board, right? They have weekly updates sitting in their office. They don't need to ask anybody. They can see it in real time what's happening on my project. If they said 5 years, where am I today? I have 2 more years to go, where am I today? The contractors are very happy. They get paid in half the time they did traditionally with paper, because they're submitting a model in real time. They're doing a difference and saying, okay, you said you would construct so much, you have constructed so much. You can check quality with IoT sensors, and they are being paid. So contractors are very happy because they're getting paid on time or faster than on time. They've eliminated a lot of paper and dark data, because when you have paper, that data and information is disconnected, right? No longer goes back into the single source of truth. And from a visualization perspective, the entire project sits today on NVIDIA's Omniverse. So it's going to, today, actually, there is a conference. It will be streamed live across the world to about more than 500,000 people. And everybody will be able to see it, but this is 21 terabytes worth of data, engineering data, will be streamed through NVIDIA's Omniverse. Again, this is what digital twins make possible. And that's the ROI for our industry. So thanks a lot, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Kaushik. Very beautifully highlighted the industry challenges and then the solutions that can address these industry challenges. I think everybody's taken a note of the fact that we need a connected data environment instead of a common data environment, and digital twin is the future. With this, I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Chaudhary, Vice President Corporate Affairs, HR and Company Secretary, National Industrial Corridor Development Corporation Limited.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and privilege to share the dais with the distinguished panelists and to share my views on this upcoming topic, which we all know. And you must have heard since beginning a lot about what PM Gati Shakti is and how PM Gati Shakti was conceptualized, what exactly it means to the private sector in terms of opportunity, in terms of ease of planning, in terms of ease of doing business, in terms of ease of implementing projects, in ease of monitoring projects. So I thought that I should just, first of all, because most of the people sitting out here are from the private sector, so it will be important to understand where exactly as a country we are heading to. So from that standpoint, I have just created 2-3 slides that what PM Gati Shakti entails and how big PM Gati Shakti is for the purpose of monitoring, for the purpose of planning, for the purpose of implementing the infrastructure which our country will be witnessing in the coming decades. So just 2 slides on, and this definitely will give you a huge perspective on the opportunities which are going to come in the near future as far as your individual technologies or your models or your solutions are concerned. And without the support and cooperation of the private sector, as my fellow speaker just mentioned, it won't be possible to create this quality as well as this magnitude of the infrastructure which our country is envisaging. So we as a country is the fastest growing G20 economy. We are the largest smartphone data consumer. We are the largest in terms of fintech adoption. We are second in terms of global retail index. We are the second largest internet subscriber. We are the third largest startup ecosystem with more than 100 unicorns already there. We are the third largest consumer market, and we are the third largest economy in terms of purchasing power parity. So this is what we have already attained. And we are talking about $5 trillion economy. We are talking about increasing our targets not under arithmetic progression, but through geometric progression. So in terms of infrastructure landscape, if I talk about, Honorable Minister Sir has spoken in the inaugural session, we were around 91,000 kilometers of the national highway expressways by 2014-15. We have constructed another close to 43,000 kilometers of the road network in our country in the past 6 years. And the target is to construct 200,000 kilometers of the road network, which means that we will be doubling our road infrastructure, including expressways, national highways, village connectivity roads, dedicated roads for ports, etc., in 10 years time frame. What we have constructed within 70 years, it will get double in the 10 years in this decade. And we all are fortunate to see this rapid movement and this rapid transformation with which our infrastructure growth story is being written. In terms of railways, we were handling close to 1,000 metric tons of cargo in 2014-15. By 2021, we attained 1,210. And by 24-25, we will be having around 1,600 metric tons of cargo handling capacity in railways. So again, 1.5x times increase in the cargo handling capacity of our railway network. Power transmission, 14-15, 3 lakh circuit kilometers. 2021, 4,25,000, and by 24-25 it is going to be 4,54,000 circuit kilometers. And all these infrastructure cannot be delivered, cannot be planned without using the latest technology. We are a late urbanizer as a country, but it is only the technology which can help us to leapfrog, and we have to optimally use this technology to plan, to move ahead with infrastructure creation at a very, very rapid pace. So again, 1.5x times of power network will get created in the country. In terms of renewable energy, we were 35 gigawatt, we rose to around 87 gigawatt, and finally 225 gigawatt of the renewable energy will be done by 2021. And these are not only the targets. So I think most of the people must be thinking at the back of their minds that these are again targets being given by the government. All these targets are backed by individual projects. All these projects are backed by individual reports of each project, which is getting monitored through PM Gati Shakti for separate line ministries. So we have conclusive details about every single project which will constitute 2 lakh kilometers of the road, and whether that road project with the right of way has been acquired or not, environment clearance has been taken or not, DPR has been prepared or not, whether it has got the sanction of the cabinet or not, funds are available or not, financing has been arranged or not. Every single detail is available for all the projects which are listed out here. So it's not only the targets or the numbers which I'm trying to market. Similarly, Civil aviation, 14-15, we were having 74 airports. We rose to 127 in 2021, and the number will grow to 220 airports, heliports, water aerodromes by 24-25, which is 3 times increase. In terms of petroleum and natural gas pipeline, we were around 15,000 kilometer. We rose to 17,500 kilometer, and by 24-25, we will cross 2.3 times of the entire gas pipeline network of the country. Shipping ports, we have 65 ports. It rose to 69, and then we will be rising up to 75 ports. National waterways, we started with 3, then we had 16, and probably we'll be having 18 inland waterways by the end of 24-25. In terms of telecommunication, number of gram panchayats which will be connected to the fiber connectivity, 60 were there in 2014-15, rose to 151, and it will rise to 250,000. I am very happy to share with you that by the end of next year, which is December 2023, every single gram panchayat will get connected to an optic fiber network, which means that you will have an access to e-education, you will have an access to telemedicine, you will have an access to the internet, and the entire world will be open at the gram panchayat level. In terms of length of OFC network, we are having 11 lakh kilometers of the OFC network, 2021, 25 lakh, and it will rise to 35 lakh kilometers of the OFC network, including into Andaman and the Nicobar Island, where the high sea cable is being laid down. So this is how our country is going to witness this decade of 2014-15 to 24-25, and this is the transformation which all of us will be partnering and will be witnessing and see a new India which is getting created within India, and that is a common terminology I use in all my presentations. So from a PM Gati Shakti standpoint, let me just give you some numbers, because I have shown you some numbers for infrastructure creation. Enough must have spoken since morning about what are the pillars of PM Gati Shakti, how it was conceptualized, how the GIS layers were added to it, etc. Let me focus on what has been done post-launch of PM Gati Shakti by Honorable Prime Minister on 13th October 2021. So let me give you some facts and figures. Some of the slides which I see, they were not containing the updated data. Post this session, probably they will update themselves. At present, close to 900 central layers has already been uploaded onto PM Gati Shakti, which includes all infrastructure ministries and every ministry involved in the development of any kind of economic zone, like textile park, electronic manufacturing cluster, pharmaceutical cluster, defense clusters, etc. More than 638 state level layers has been uploaded, including in some of the cases the revenue maps of the states. PM Gati Shakti, though it is a central portal, but 23 ministry level portals have already been created, which is for the use of the respective ministry for the purpose of their planning. 17 state level portals has already been created, which is being used by the state planning agencies, by the PWD departments of the state for the purpose of planning their own infrastructure within the state. And all that is getting integrated into the master portal, which is the National Master Plan or the PM Gati Shakti portal. 81 high impact projects and 22 greenfield projects have already been examined and recommended by the network planning group of PM Gati Shakti. More than 1,300 issues on the live projects, which are primarily related to interdepartmental clashes, fixation of the alignment, availability of the right of way, clearances from an environment standpoint, etc., has already been cleared using PM Gati Shakti. 196 critical infrastructure gap projects where the last mile connectivity was an issue has already been recommended. We have created 12 decision making tools which are being used by ministries like MORTH, Ministry of Shipping, Department of Telecom, and these tools are in the range of road alignment, utility shifting, tree cutting permission, road cutting and filling, land acquisition, also how much value it will be required to acquire the land, what is the circle rates of that particular area, what will be the soil disposal planning tool, proximity analysis tool, go no-go area point from the point of view of location of a bird sanctuary, location of a national reserve forest, location of any wildlife sanctuary, navigation tool, API integration tool. So these 12 decision making tools has already been created, which is being used by different ministries. 14 states have come out with their state logistics policy so that they can maximum use of PM Gati Shakti can be done. Let me give you some example. For the purpose of fiberization of the mobile towers, recently Department of Telecom has used PM Gati Shakti as one of the major tool, and under that they have already mapped close to 9 lakh route kilometers of fiber. 5.73 lakh towers have already been mapped, and around 27.53 lakh antennas have been mapped. So for the purpose of identifying where exactly should be the location of a 5G tower is required in terms of land availability, in terms of signals, in terms of easy, in terms of acquiring the land, in terms of value of acquiring the land, source of power, etc. The entire planning of locating 5G towers has been done using PM Gati Shakti as a tool. This is a live example. Similarly, Ministry of Road Transport is very heavily using PM Gati Shakti for the purpose of fixing up a road alignment. Normally, it used to take around 9 months for a DPR consultant to come on board and make the planning and do a road alignment, because he has to do site surveys, he has to undertake a lot of permission clearances at the state level, at the central level, especially with regard to right-of-way availability, environment clearance, any sanctuary which is getting located out there. So that, to my mind, from 9 months, preparation of a DPR of a road project will get reduced to 3 months, because everything is available on the map. As the minister in the morning rightly said, there is no need to go to the site to assess what is the situation. Everything can be done, only the last level ground truthing will be required to be carried out by the site survey teams. Rest, every planning in terms of how much quantity of soil will be taken out, etc., all that can be done using PM Gati Shakti as a tool. Location of Anganwadis is another example where the land is available, but it belongs to the state government, it is a government owned land or not. All that analysis has been done using PM Gati Shakti as a tool. With the paucity of time, I'm not able to explain it to you many more examples which has come up in the past 9-10 months, but these are some of the examples where it is being used heavily, and I'm very sure that with the support and cooperation of all the attendees out here, there will be a lot of movement into the usage of PM Gati Shakti, and eventually as a country we will be able to deliver all of this. Now coming to my original head of developing greenfield industrial cities as part of the National Industrial Corridor Program, I'll just skip all these slides because all this is available. Under the Industrial Corridor Program, now we have moved from 1 corridor project to 11 corridor projects. We are developing 32 new greenfield smart cities, and our mandate is different from what is there under Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which is basically for the purpose of developing or turning existing brownfield cities into the smart cities. So we start from the scratch, and many of you who are sitting here have associated with us, have worked with us from the very beginning for the purpose of planning and for the purpose of putting up everything into the GIS based platform. Right from the beginning, NICDC has adopted a strategy whereby we have requested all our consultants as well as the contractors to submit everything into the 3D drawings format, to submit everything so that the inter-utility clashes, etc., can be known at the planning stage itself. So we use a lot of the solutions which are available in this room, and we will keep on using those solutions as we move forward, and we will be more than acceptable to use more and more technology for the purpose of making effective planning, for the purpose of digitizing every land record, every utility we are laying below the road, and for the purpose of effective management of those utilities and the city as a whole. So I'm very thankful to the organizers for inviting me, because I'm learning about new and new technologies and the solutions which has come up in the recent past. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek. It was indeed a wonderful presentation, and to know more what has been done on the PM Gati Shakti program. As laymen, we often don't understand the work that the government does, but from hearing it from you, it really, I'm sure it had an impact on all of us. Now we have a presentation from Mr. Sajid Mukhtar, Chairman, Rotor Group. He is going to be talking about, I believe, drones, which is one of the most innovative and most accepted technology since the pandemic. and look forward to hearing from you, Sajid.
Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm definitely not going to talk about drones because that was not the topic that you have given to me to speak. Nevertheless, I'll try to touch a few things as we understand in the geospatial, being into the geospatial domain. I'm Sajid Mukhtar. I'm heading the Rotor group of companies. I'm basically a surveyor, so no need to go into details. This company was started by my grandfather in 1936. So he was jailed around in Roorkee, and when he came out, the Ganges Canal was getting maintained. So he started copying the product used there, and that's how we became the first small-scale industry to produce or replicate those instruments which were coming from Stanley, London in those times. And this is how this company was born and groomed. Now it's a group of 7 companies. We have a big, huge spread. I am a third generation entrepreneur into it. So we always talk about the generations. So yeah, the first generation usually work to build up a house. That is when the industrial revolution came in. Second generation probably already has the house built by the father, so he works for the car or for the air conditioning or something else. That is the IT revolution probably, and the third generation is where the car and the house is already there by the forefathers, so you have collaborative intelligence. So you work for your nation. You don't work for money anymore. So that is the stage I am, and that is where my son, my next generation, is probably trying to take it forward. Pretty much spread, producing in Toledo, Ohio in United States, producing in Germany outside Munich and Gilching, having 2 offices in Dresden and Erfurt. Production-wise, we opened up India's largest drone manufacturing factory in Uttarakhand, that is in Roorkee, my birthplace. We have a production unit in Bangalore. We do a lot of geospatial production as well. Have an office of our own working for the Asia Pacific in Malaysia. So that's pretty much the spread around. So here I'll start with what I really like about maps. So as I told you that I'm basically a surveyor, so I'll start from there. I'll try to do this, but this punchline always really attracts me. So it says it all, right? So we'll talk about the space, and we'll talk about measurements, we'll talk about how to measure it. I started my career with chain and tape. So that was the optomechanical stage where I started. So that's probably an age most of you in the next generation, they don't even know about. We were using plane tables, chains, poles to create a polygon. We used to have offsets to create a line, then create a polygon, and then create an area. So this was till the early 20th century, maps were created like that. Survey of India undertook one of the largest mapping challenge in India in 1802, which was completed in 1872, I guess, or 71, using these instruments. Now, in the later part of the century, later part of the 20th century, the electronic age stepped in. So I was lucky enough to see both the ages. So I'm pretty dated, so probably look younger than that. So then the differential GPS came into picture, and the entire industry changed, because now the maps could be created or correlated with each other, because the cost of georeferencing came down and became very affordable. So this is the age which I have seen. This is how the GIS started evolving in my times, where by the end of 20th century, the use of electronic total station or DGPS in mapping had an exponential growth. With the use of CAD software, I remember that we created our own CAD engine in those days, in probably 90s, 91, copying the IntelliCAD and the AutoCAD available, and we created our own. So a relational database and network environments help in layering the data, map, and imagery together in a GIS like what is reflected there. But it changed after the turn of the century. So we saw advances in computing technology, we saw faster processors with multiple cores now performing multiple tasks for the same thing in a high speed. So in addition to the faster processor, cheaper storage, now you have big data coming in. So you don't even have to have a tabular form inside. You can probably have imagery, you can have JPEG, you can have PDF, you can have any amount of data in that big data. You got affordable internet. You have touch and voice input, which meant that the common people could use this technology. We have now, thanks to Trimble, higher accurate GPS that could be integrated in consumer products. Yep, and available cheap. We had high accuracy GPS that could be integrated not only in the consumer product, but that can be tagged with all the information available for special analysis. We have now miniature GPS coming up, which are accurate and with some inertial technologies, which we are also promoting along with the GPS. Again, thanks to Trimble. Now I'm promoting Trimble, huh? Rajan? Yeah. Then we saw a lot of changes in integrated developments. We saw the smartphones and equipped with multiple sensors, having cameras, GPS, and now even LiDAR. So I used to advocate in 1991-92, I remember, I was talking in Manchester that there will be a time then which will be called for citizen mapping. Every citizen will have a device in his hand and he will start mapping. That's now is the time that I'm seeing it actually, because every citizen can help mapping. So this is like a dream coming true. So then you have mobile computing, where even which is used every day now in India, like rural communities helping to provide timely solutions. This is happening as we are talking. So for transportation, for medical, for agriculture problem. Then we got intelligent sensors gather inputs of various nature, like vibration that can affect the structure of a building, or maybe dangerous gases in underground mines. So we are probably creating that as well. And stepping up to Internet of Things, where we are creating everything now, even in challenging underground mines, creating a map, digitizing it, locating the sensors, finding out the distresses, navigational things all put together in one domain. So geospatial, I guess the word was first used in 1974, very early, which refers to GIS with higher positional accuracy. Geospatial technology leverages on these significant advances to prove solutions by taking input from historical and real-time location awareness of the data. So now let's come back to Gati Shakti, which is very much told, but I am a layman, so I will tell you the way I understand Gati Shakti. 2014, a lot of changes happened in this country. 2014, we got a very tall leader. And we got a leader who actually wanted this country to grow strong from the grassroots, from the ground up. So we are becoming tall in the last 8 years, but 8 years is not a magic that we can cover up the 70 years that we have probably not done something like that. But this is how I understand Gati Shakti. It's a coordinated plan, design, develop, and maintain the infrastructure that has so far been looked at individually with an aim of providing interlinked transportation and converting the speed of progress to the strength of nation. That is what I understand from my Prime Minister's vision of Gati Shakti. So where does geospatial technology come into all of this, right? Or probably I'll put it in another way, where doesn't geospatial technology come into all this? So because I'm primarily an instrumentation engineer, started from surveying. So the common underlying requirement in geospatial information for design, one must plan and route and know the space available. Even for operation of a railway, one must know the current position of a train, right? The planning and monitoring will be based on satellite imagery available from Esri, it's commonly known, and the maps based out of an old survey of India, General Girish Kumar just left. I wanted to actually mention his name as well. Anyway, satellite imagery has been very effective in planning on a macro level, but on the project transportation infrastructure, but it needed geospatial information that is more detailed and more precise. So modern geospatial technologies are rightly equipped to provide the necessary inputs for collaborative development and maintenance of infrastructure through shared information. Bangalore airport was built and there was no road going there. They built the road after they built the airport. So you build a road today and tomorrow the pipeline guys will come to cut the road and put a pipeline across the road. So to avoid all these tricky things which happens and which we see every day in our gali, mohallas and everywhere, you know, a new road will be there and the next day somebody will come as if he was just waiting for the right time to get that road built. So next day itself he will cut it through. Anyway, now talking about Ananya's mention of drones. Yeah. How did it happen? 2017, we were talking to General Girish Kumar about doing a large-scale mapping. I've been involved in mapping since 1992-93, using those times in total stations and then later on GPS. So total stations were very accurate, one point to another point, very accurate measurement in millimeters, and we were having troubles in setting up or mosaicing the higher order village maps because the bund itself was like 1 foot. So you don't know where to keep the pole, and you keep the pole and then the whole map shifts. So you had to do a lot of rubber sheeting, you had to do a lot of pulling it down and fixing it back or digitizing it. So then I always had this idea of why not take a camera up, take a picture, and digitize the picture, and pop, you have the map. And this thing came through when Survey of India decided to use drones, and I was very lucky and I really feel very fortunate that we were the first company to tie up with Survey of India in Prime Minister's one more great scheme, Swamitwa, and we started mapping the country. 670,000 odd villages to be mapped in a short span time, which has to be completed by 2024, I guess. And the sheer speed and accuracy required an industrial drone, the one which is kept outside. Probably you can go and see it. I can probably show you here as well. State-of-the-art development that we did, a drone fixed wing, because we wanted to make a fixed wing because we wanted less vibration, want to have more accurate maps, less than 2 to 3 centimeters on an X and Y, and about 3 times the pixel size on Z. This is one eVTOL which can take off and land. It takes off vertically, flies like a plane, can cover an area of about 7.5 square kilometer in one single flight, flies for about 90 minutes, gives you an accuracy. We have always got about 2 centimeter or less on an X and Y, and probably the only drone in India. I mean, we have the largest fleet now, no doubt. We have about 500 drones in the air. So Survey of India says that every minute there is a drone taking off, which is ours, and covering larger area for Swamitwa as well as for LSM, that is the large scale mapping going on in various states. You can even catch it in your hand. You can take off anywhere. The better part of the system is that we have made it in a way that it has swappable payload. So you can start from photogrammetry, you can probably have a 20 megapixel, you can go up to 60 megapixel now, which gives you a lot of edge on everything. We were recently flying in the very treacherous terrain in Himalayas, and we showed them the map to the army, and the army guys were shocked, like, oh, we have never seen something like this. So this is changing the face so much. With the recent launch of our oblique camera, which has like 5 cameras, forward, backward, left and right, and in center, which can actually make the digital twin very easy. So something like Ayush, where you have like 1,000 cities to be mapped, you cannot use any other technology much faster than this, which can build a 3D just like that, right? So we have done it successfully. We are now running it in IIT Roorkee today as I am talking to you. So we are building a 3D of the whole campus of IIT Roorkee today. You get multispectral, you get cameras which can help you in precision farming, getting the bad crop or good crop, and put that data together as well. One single drone, multiple payload. You can put a LiDAR, you can have a very accurate measurement of the road, which MORTH can use for national highways as well. So this is the only thing that I'm going to mention about the UAV. We were the first company to come up with an NSV, a survey vehicle, where in India we launched. I have my own, we have like what, 16 such vehicles in Germany. We have been maintaining German road infrastructure for last 25 years, to be very precise. So the best of the cars are bought all over the world, and people go to the autobahns in Germany to run and see and test the cars. Those roads are made by us. You can Google or go to Discovery Channel or National Geographic, you will find these cars running. So this was designed, developed by Fraunhofer Research Institute, funded by us, and the IP controlled by an Indian company in India. We are doing all the geospatial production in Bangalore for all the data collected here. This was shown to Mr. Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari in 2014, I still remember, and he changed the total station and GPS scenario to mobile mapping after seeing this. He took a decision, he sent us to the Indian Road Congress, got certifications for this, and this was the first measurement vehicle certified by RTO also in India. This is probably the only one right now. It has a high-end laser scanner which runs 360 degrees, which takes the whole corridor, has a pavement scanner which is on a fixed swath of about 4 meters high and covers about 4.5 meters of one lane, gives you an accuracy of 0.3 millimeters. So imagine the kind of accuracy you can get for cracks, for your rutting index, water depths, everything, so perfect. So this was when we named it as engineering grade LiDAR, and that's how this term engineering grade LiDAR came into picture. Mr. Gadkari sent us to the Himalayas in Uttarakhand to track those roads and do a pilot, so we did that for NHAI. Then he sent us to Hyderabad and Vijayawada highway, which was newly paved, wanted to test it again on the plains. And based on this data, NHAI came up with mobile mapping system, which they are still using it. Unfortunately, the people using the DPRs or making the DPRs, which he was really ticked off with, are probably not using the right kind of technology, but they are using the right kind of terminology, right? So they will use mobile mapping system, but not the right technology. So if you want to use a GPS, you go to Trimble. I'm mentioning your name again. Sorry about that. Right? So I own a dinner from you, Rajan, right? So you go to Trimble. You don't go to a Chinese company to buy a Chinese GPS to have accurate map developed. No, you don't do that. You think of drone in India, you think of rotor. Why? Because we are the best. Yeah, we are expensive. Yeah, you have to pay a cost for that because it's not cheap, the hardware we are using it. It's not from China, right? So they are using the same terminology, like it's an engineering grade LiDAR, but it is not. That's the reason the DPRs are failing, because they are using some sensors, some Chinese LiDARs and taking and creating a map. Not that accurate, nothing nearer, even 50% nearer to what we have offering. So this system is an indispensable system in collecting the geospatial data. Not only this, we started recruiting a team of GPR specialists for underground utility mapping. So we started with GPRs, a lot of GPRs which can do concrete assessment, which can do road, bridges, many things which are now routinely used for exploring anything under the ground. This was part of my dream because I always wanted to be a company which will do 360-degree survey. So in the air, on the ground, and under the ground. So I think now I'm so happy that I have achieved all this dream of 360-degree survey with this kind of thing as well. So I'll just show you one slide. Okay, this is what you get when you use the right technology, and you can integrate all these technologies together. So this is the data. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a hill road, which is done by our NSV, the vehicle where you can get the pavement as well as the entire corridor of the road. And then you can create a very high order of digital elevation model, which will show you the longitudinal profile and the chainage, datum, everything of a cross section on the other side. So this is something where you can do an integration. You can do a similar integration for subsurface utilities and underwater features for underwater bathymetry as well with this. Okay, with the same vehicle about pre-COVID times, I just wanted to make an impression here. That is how we used to do the condition survey of the road. There was a lot of manual input because people used to sit there and do it for hours, engineers sitting in front of two screens and comparing the conditions of the survey. And this thing drastically changed the moment we brought in the collaborative intelligence. I'm not using the word AI or ML because that doesn't sound good. Collaborative intelligence is where the man comes into picture with AI and ML together. So this is how it happens now. The data automatically comes, and with the deep learning algorithm that we have built up around it, it gets automatically cleaned, checked, and then with a little amount of human intelligence, pop the map of GIS comes where you have green, blue, good road, bad road, or the red, very bad road. Right, so this is how the workflow works for the drone. So I'll just leave it there. Now, what does it help? How does this Gati Shakti helps? What is the impact of this Gati Shakti finally on day-to-day basis to me, to you, and to the masses of India? So Geospatial, this is providing services to the citizen. Remember the food delivery from Zomato, Swiggy, or Ola, Uber, all of them are using this data as the backbone of their services. So this minimizes the time on roads, maximize health, personal growth, family, overall strength to the nation. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking that extra 5 minutes.
Thank you, Sajid. It was good to see what geospatial technologies, including drones, can do for the National Gati Shakti program. With this, I would like to invite our last speaker, Mr. Sunil MK, Country Head Autodesk.
Thank you so much. I think I don't have to sell Autodesk as much as you. I'm going to give you some time back. Has everybody heard of AutoCAD? I work for Autodesk, the company behind AutoCAD, right? So thanks for calling me here today, Ananya, Geospatial, and welcome to all the panelists, and welcome to everyone sitting out here today. So I have a few slides that I'll try to wrap up quickly. We are known as an AutoCAD company for a long time. We launched AutoCAD in 1983. Since then, we revolutionized the CAD industry as whole. We moved people from hand-drawn drawings to computer-aided design, right? We displaced boards to computers very quickly at that time. But we are more than that, actually. We have design software for almost every industry. One of our CEOs used to say, if not made by God, it's probably been designed and built by one of our customers, right? So we have solutions for AEC industry. We have solutions for manufacturing industry. We have solutions for media and entertainment industry. So all the movies and games that you play on your mobile devices is done by, we have been winning Oscar for 19 years for movie making, right? What we do in our life as professionals has great impact in 3 areas. 1, energy and material, health and resilience, and work and prosperity. I'm going to actually want you to keep this in mind as we move forward. So I'll quickly talk about some of the technology trends. We actually, as I said, we moved drawing boards to CAD, then we moved CAD to BIM. We actually moved BIM to connected BIM, and now AI, ML, and DFMA is changing the world in a way very quickly. So what happened last few years, the catalyst for the driving CAD was basically personal computer, right? And downturn and band-aids in many countries actually drove BIM adoption. countries around you, like Singapore and Middle East, and many of the European countries have mandates around BIM that actually has helped drive that BIM adoption big time. And people actually adopted cloud or digitization very quickly in last 2 years because of COVID, right? That was one of the things that happened. And next wave that is going to be around platforms. Many of the companies that you work for you or you use are going to launch platforms. We are already underway. We are developing platform which you should see in very quick, in very short time, and that's driven by owners. And now, looking at what happened, the design is evolving very quickly. Earlier, we had one human, one computer, and limited design options, right? I am an architect myself, so when I started my practice, I would have one or two design options, and I would go to the customer, and I would think that he likes one, so that I can start with the design process. But today, with computational power, that's actually driving a lot of changes. So one human computational algorithm computing power generate thousands and unlimited design options for you. And it's done by the machine. And that's what we call generative design. So automation is going to drive the new way of design and make. Whatever you design, whether it's a building or a road or a machine or a movie, it's the entire design process is changing, and that's changing because of AI, ML, and things like that. So what we are looking at today, I think some of our speakers also talked about digital twin, and that's where we are going. The BIM gave you a digital data. CAD was drawings, line, arc, and circle. They didn't have much of information. It was based on some of the algorithms that was basically, I can draw a line and I can give it a color red and assume, and give it a name called brick wall. And I would like to assume that it is a brick wall. When I send the drawing across to anybody, I would like you to assume it's a brick wall. Then came BIM, where we actually used real world components to design our thought process. So if it was building or a road or anything, you actually use real world components like wall, door, windows, road, light, and all of those kind of things actually give you the design. Now coming to digital twin, actually this data model becomes the foundation of digital twin. BIM models are the foundation. How is that? Because you have already made it for as a design process, and that's used for construction, but it doesn't become really the living twin. When does it become living twin? When you actually incorporate all the data from the physical model that you have built into the digital model. Then it becomes a living twin of a physical model, right? And that's where I think some of the things is going to happen in real world. So, three things that is actually driving us. One, digitization. Integration, everybody talked about collaboration and all of those kind of things that will help us to deliver projects faster. And by doing all this, what are we trying to achieve? We are trying to actually optimize many things. Design process, work process, make process, collaborative process. More importantly, we are becoming sustainable in a way, right? We don't have enough in the world, so we have to live with what we have and make most of it. So BIM is the backbone of digital transformation. I'm going to just move forward with that. So I want to give you a simple analogy as a common man of using road infrastructure, rail, and all of that. I lived my life in Singapore. I'm a Singapore citizen. I moved here in 2017. What I felt is road and network are like veins in our bodies, like that actually makes you more efficient, right? If you have good roads and infrastructure. When I moved to India, I realized my life has become very unpredictable. Why is that? In Singapore, I used to get up in the morning, I used to drop my son to school, and I knew that I would actually reach office in 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Right? It was very predictable for me. Evening, I would call my wife and say, I'm leaving now. And 15, 20 minutes, by the time I reach home, the tea, coffee is ready, and we would sit in the balcony, have a cup of tea. And I had enough time to take my child down to play with him and then sit with him and watch TV and all of those kind of things. Here, when I came here, I realized I didn't know what time I'll reach office in the morning. Most of the time sitting in the car. Evening, I didn't know what time I'm reaching back home. I started spending less time with my family. That's because of poor infrastructure, poor roads, right? Then came my productivity. This is the biggest thing that I think what infrastructure change can do for all of us in India. In Singapore, I would go and meet 3 customers a day. It's a normal day. Good day, I can meet 4 customers, right? What happened here? I meet 1 customer a day. My productivity went down to 1/3, or you could say 1/4. So every Indian, I realized, is working at 1/4 the capacity. If a person is earning 100 rupees today, if you give him proper roads, proper infrastructure, he would earn 400. What would it do for India as prosperity? I mean, Abhishek gave a lot of information. It actually gives me a lot of confidence we are on the right path. Tomorrow is going to be great. The kind of things that they have adopted and are doing is great. But today, a lot of people, I'm like, I think there is a problem. Cities, highways are getting built, but city roads are not getting better. I live in Bangalore. I feel life has no, people don't think about life as an important thing. People die on pothole roads, you know, motorcycles, scooters, pregnant women falling out of scooter. It's a common news on a daily basis. Flash floods in Bangalore are very common. I've got stuck in an underpass for 3 hours when it rained. These are common problems. I don't know how much you relate to it, but after coming here, I kind of going out on a road is a nightmare a lot of time, right? So, only thing that I feel tomorrow is definitely better. Gati Shakti, this kind of program that's happening here is great. But I can tell you one thing, what we did in last 50 years, we cannot do the same thing. We need to adopt technology at a faster pace, and we don't have that much time. 5 years is what I heard $1.5 trillion is going to be spent. If you look at last 10 years, we didn't even spend $200 billion. How are you going to spend $1.5 trillion in 5 years? Without technology, you can't do it. The technology people are sitting here. All government has a vision. All I can say is that we need collectively have a vision to move forward, adopt good technologies, adopt good processes, collaborative processes, technology that can help you to design and build better. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunil, for bringing in the common man perspective. I don't want to waste the time of this panel, so I have all of them here. So I have one question with which I want to conclude this discussion. Yesterday we had a BIM and Digital Twin think tank meeting, and one of the core things that we discussed there was when we talk about be it the National Gati Shakti plan, or we talk about digital twin or BIM, anything, it requires geospatial data. So when we talk about data which is critical to the Gati Shakti plan, which is what the GIS layer would include, which is what a digital twin model would include, which is what a BIM model would include, data is going to be crucial for it. So there's a lot of discussion regarding data integrity, data standards, data interoperability. How do you think, and real-time access of data, so Gati Shakti is going to be a bigger plan. What are the things that can be done in the country from the perspective of improving that data on a regular basis and ensuring that the Gati Shakti plan or the platform or the geospatial platform is continuously updated and almost in near real time. And I would take this as your concluding remarks. So, Vishal, if you want to go first.
Yeah. So data has been a very sensitive topic since age-old times. We all grew hearing this many times that it's a next oil, it's next whatever. So data has two parameters. One, you don't have the data, and second is you don't have intent to share. And that's what is been changing now. Either you start mandating or you start building that motion that anything which is made from public money should be shared. That's what happened when we liberalized the geospatial policy. It took many years by the time people start working on it, and Sanjay is one of the custodian here sitting. We worked together and came out with a great guideline around geospatial policy, and data is a very key ingredient to it. So once there is an intent to share, the mandate to share something for the national interest, then comes how to share and what meaningful result it will make if you start sharing it. Abhishek said so many things about data layers, and I think it's increasing day by day. So the geospatial technology, the portals we're trying to bring in, the portlets we're trying to connect within departments, within agencies, and eventually coming to a national portal, it's all data sharing. And still we are saying you're not giving your data, you're sharing it through API, through various standards, and you still remain the custodian of data. Only thing is it's shared with others so that it can come with some meaningful result. So I think things are happening in the right direction, and I always say these are very exciting times for geospatial industry, which was not the case 10 years back. When you go to somebody and say GIS, he will confuse with GPS. Right, so Rajan is here. I will not talk like Sajid more on rotor, but I think it's very exciting times, and we should take much advantage of this with government and public and private coming together, sharing all this. Thanks.
Thank you, Vishal. Kaushik.
I think he said it all right. So it's all about willingness. So I'd give an analogy. It's like healthcare, right? If I want to become healthier, I have every avenue and everything possible. The only thing missing usually is willpower. So technology is no longer a problem. Information is no longer an issue. It's, whether you mandate, you encourage, that is of course up to the government. But at the end of the day, if we build, what you showed, if we build all of that, and we don't know what we've built, we'll spend the next 10 years after that rescanning everything to find out what the hell we built, right? So it is, and we'll probably spend $500 million trying to find out what we spend $1.5 trillion on, which is again, not a very smart thing to do. And every asset we build we have to look at it in terms of how much does it help increase the GDP of this nation, and how does it help the citizens, right? So there is a cost and the economic value impact or added to the nation for that. So I think, the Gati Shakti program does show that there is that thought process that we are building critical infrastructure which adds to the productivity of the nation and the GDP of the nation. So it must be protected, and it should be, that information must be stored. Like, we store things in the bank lockers, right? We store ridiculous things, papers. Usually most lockers are filled with paper, or gold or cash in this country. But anyway, demonetization got rid of all the cash. But I hope that, I think there is enough technology out there, there's enough willingness, and if we just have policies and encourage and framework to do it, we will do it.
Thank you, Kaushik. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I can't agree more with my fellow colleagues. When we started building this National Master Plan PM Gati Shakti, immediately after the first wave of COVID, a mandate was received that this is how it has to be created and evolved. I'm not going behind the story, how it started and why our organization was chosen to do that. But it's very important, the data is available, the processes are available, the technology is available. The biggest thing which we need to fight and which we have collectively fought over the past 2 years to create such a big integrated platform is basically the intent to share the data. every ministry, department, or body, whosoever owns the data, just treats that as if they are the only custodian of that data and they don't want to share. And that is their some kind of a heritage which only they can enjoy. So it's not about breaking the silos in terms of creating integration layers. It's basically breaking the silos of intent so that the data sharing can be seamless. Data sharing can be used for India as a whole rather than looking at individual ministry or department as one single silo, one single department. Many people can get benefit because of that integration, and which is what the basic intent of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan is. And to answer your question, I think it has to be a continuous process. It's not that now 900 layers has been created and it's the end of the story. Unless and until this data is going to be updated from the grassroots level, from the bottom up level, the whole thing, the whole usage of the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan will collapse. So it's very important that from the source where the data is getting generated, it should get continuously updated onto the main portal as well as on the individual portals of the user ministries which are actually using this. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I really like the line breaking the silos of intent. Sajid.
I think that has already been broken by this leadership. We have seen what has happened in geospatial policy, and we have seen that what happened with Survey of India or happening with Survey of India right now. From 1 is to 150,000 scale, we have come down to 500 scale, 1 is to 500 scale. I have a different take on this. My take is, what is this data we're talking about? How reliable is this data? I mean, in India, best of the carpenter, you give him a blunt tool, he will make a chair which will not survive even for a day. You give him like electronic saw, you give him the best of the tools and machinery, he will create something beautiful, much faster and much reliable. So I think from as a surveyor perspective, that this data depends on the platform and the tool. So if you don't have these two things, you already have Gati Shakti. It's launched, a great scheme. Everything is in proper. You have a great leadership, you're doing everything. But as Mr. Gadkari said, you will fail. Your DPRs fail because you don't have the right tool, you don't have the right platform. Your road will sink, you'll have sinkholes in the road. You can build best of the highways, but you don't have the tools. So how do you actually mandate a particular tool for that? So my take is, what is the tool or platform used to create this data? How to store it? It's easy. That's all.
Thank you, Sajid. Sunil.
I'll give a little bit of a story. Long time back, 10 years back, I went to, I'm not going to name the project, I went to this metro project, and the CEO was an IAS officer, and I said, so you should be using BIM for the project. It will help you to complete the project faster and on budget and all of that. No, why should I do that? I should just mention by when the project should finish, when the handover should happen. But in our history, I think because that never a project had finished on budget and on time. In fact, we plan for 100, we only deliver 50, right? Taxpayers' money. Can we do that? We can't do that at all. So I think digitalization or technology adoption, I think we all know that it can improve our productivity, right? Minimum adopting technology can be like, even smartphone, you become 20% productive, right, if you use it. So if you use BIM, for example, it can bring 20% productivity increase. So let's take then this whole estimate of 1.5 trillion going to be spent for projects. If government in Gati Shakti, I don't know whether it is mandated, if you actually put mandate on technology, whether it is design tool, collaborative tool, blah, 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 it will bring 20% productivity increase. What does it mean? Instead of $1.5 trillion, I need only $1.2 trillion. 300 billion is on the table.
Do you want to distribute that to all professionals to buy technology? Give some training, get them become better, right? So my request is start adopting technology. I think I would like to request Abhishek, young people in the government should be advocating this whole prophecy that just by having, so why does DPR fail? Because after DPR, the tools are not specified in the contracts, right? We need to do this. So technology mandate is key for going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. I guess everybody can clap because this is the end of the session. Thank you, panelists. It was indeed insightful to have you here and share your thoughts on the role of geospatial technologies for the Gati Shakti program.